Awesome. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us for tonight's webinar. It's the second to last webinar of our Webinar Wednesdays series for this semester. And you are here for the Transfer Pathway webinar. This webinar is going to be all about the transfer process and what it looks like to transfer from a community college to a four-year university, the benefits of it, the basics of it, right? So if that's what you're here for, you're definitely in the right place. We have a very special guest with you tonight, our host, our guest speaker, Marco Madariaga Benavides from Saddleback College is going to be presenting tonight. But before we get started, let's go ahead and talk about some housekeeping items so that we're all on the same page and you know what to look forward to and what the setting for tonight is going to be. This webinar is being recorded. So you will have access to this recording after tonight's presentation. So don't worry if you have to leave early or if you think that you want to review this later on. We will be posting this on our YouTube channel as we post all of our videos and recordings on our YouTube channel. And that should be available to you no later than this coming Monday. You are muted and your video is off. So your job is just to absorb all of this information. We can't hear you or see you. So don't worry about that. And if you do have any questions, please feel free to submit your questions using the Q&A function so that we can organize and kind of monitor your questions in a more orderly fashion. That's a lot better for our team as opposed to you using the chat. So thank you for doing that. But with that, I'm going to go ahead and pass this off to Marco. Actually, I'm not. I forgot that the slide was here. I guess I should introduce myself, right, before I pass this off to our featured speaker for tonight. My name is Bea. I am a college and career counselor with CUSD-Futureology. We are Capistrano Unified School District's free college and career counseling program. I'm joined here tonight by my colleague, Jessica Yazdani, who's over at San Juan Hills High School, and our coordinator, Ms. Erica Gardner. We are a team of credentialed school counselors. We are also college admissions readers. So we use this experience to help guide the students of the district in their college and career planning process. We provide webinars such as this for our families. We meet with students and families one-on-one, and we provide in-person workshops at all of our high school sites as well in our college and career centers. So just a little bit about us so that you know who we are and that you know that we are a resource to you. But without further ado, I am going to pass this on to our guest speaker, Marco, to get right into tonight's agenda and to discuss the awesome choice and option that is transferring from a community college to a four-year university.
Okay, thank you very much, Bea. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Marco Madariaga Benavides. I'm an enrollment coach at Saddleback College. So what does that mean for your students? Is that my job is to help students transition from high school to college in a seamless manner. I understand that sometimes for many of our high school students, a big change from high school to college can be very scary. It can be daunting, but I'm here to make it as effortless as possible. And so they'll always be able to reach out to me for any resources. So let's get started with the agenda. So again, we're going to talk about transferring and a quick things about community colleges, how transfer works, some of our support programs that will help with transferring, why you should transfer, and resources, and how CUSD support can help. And then we'll definitely hit the Q&A towards the end. So what is transferring? We often hear this a lot. So what is it? So pretty much transferring is when students finish their general education courses and pre-major courses at community college. There are a few benefits about transferring, which we will definitely discuss in a bit. Before we get started, though, let's talk about community colleges. Community colleges are funded to gain the recognition that they should be receiving as a great investment. I often work with students. I tell them education is an investment, so we got to invest wisely our time and money. So how is community college a smart investment? Well, to start off with, we have 116 community colleges in California, making us the largest educational system in California. We serve over 1.8 million students, and our biggest benefit is our affordable education, which we will go a bit more into details. We offer associate's degrees in arts and science, which offer transfer certificates. So one of the ways we could make community college affordable is through the financial support that we give. So all students should be applying for either the FAFSA or the California Dream Act. I highly push this, and I'm sure you'll hear it from everyone and everyone at the schools that applying for the financial aid will be a big benefit. Even if you feel like you might not qualify for anything, or maybe you make too much, or what the reason might be, you'll be surprised at what kind of financial support you can receive. And it's also some of the requirements that you're going to need for some of the programs at Saddleback. So let's talk about transferring. So how does it work? So in community colleges, students must complete a minimum of 60 transferable units. So that's pretty much made of general ed courses such as your math, sciences, language, and major prep courses, or what we call lower division courses. So students will eventually choose a major at Saddleback College, and they'll be working towards their associates to transfer. So they'll be taking their general ed classes and some major prep courses. Now, not all courses count for transfer, so this is very important. At Saddleback, we have our classes numbered 1 through 200 plus. All courses have a number to determine where they could transfer those units. So example, courses are number 1 through 99 are UC eligible. Courses are 1 through 199 are Cal State eligible. So what that means is if a student's taking, let's just say, a Science 10 class, that Science 10 class can be transferred to both UCs and Cal State. Now, let's just say they take a Science 100 class. That class will only be transferable to Cal State, but not the UCs. And for the private schools, they all vary. So our counselors at Saddleback College help our students make sure they're creating an educational plan that will make units that will transfer them to the appropriate state system. So UC, Cal State, or private schools. Another requirement is, of course, our GPA. GPA does matter. Now, a UC minimum GPA to transfer is a 2.4, while Cal State's minimum to transfer is a 2.0. However, we always want to encourage the students to get the highest level GPA they can. Do not settle with the minimum, right? Because you're going to be competing with other students through Saddleback and through other community colleges to get a spot into one of these 4 years. So how do we at Saddleback help with transferring? So we're actually number 12 in transfer. So out of 116, we rank number 12. We roughly transfer around 3,500 students every year. And the students are just going through schools not just in state, but also out of state, such as Princeton, Stanford, University of Michigan, and so much more. For the students who are interested in transferring to our UC or Cal State systems, this is where our top transfers are. For the UCs, number 1 is UC Irvine, number 2 is UCLA, UC San Diego, UC Berkeley, and UC Riverside. If our students are transferring to a Cal State, they will be transferring to number 1 is Fullerton, number 2 is Long Beach, number 3, which actually tied this year, is Cal Poly San Luis Obispo and San Diego State, and Cal Poly Pomona. To give you an idea, the average acceptance rate from Saddleback College to the Cal States is roughly around 83%, while the average acceptance rate for the UCs from Saddleback College is 50%. So we do have great transfer numbers. Of course, this doesn't mean that it's guaranteed. We're going to make sure that we make your student competitive to ensure they get a spot in one of the dream schools. And of course, one of the biggest benefits about transferring is the money that you're saving. So when students start straight out of 4-year, a lot of the times during the first 2 years, they're going to be working on their general education. Well, at Saddleback, you'll be doing the same thing. You'll be working on your general education, but with a lot less expensive cost. So here's an example. Last year, students who transferred to Cal State Fullerton saved roughly around $11,000. For students who transferred to UC Irvine, they saved roughly around $28,000. And when it comes to private schools, last year, our students transferred to USC from Saddleback saved roughly around $124,000. So as you can see, the savings is great. So that means more money in your pockets for your student and for yourselves, of course, right? We could put those in our savings when we move forward. So at Saddleback, there's a few transfer programs that we offer to help with getting them in. So one of them is our transfer admission guarantee. So this is also known as a TAG program. This gives students a guaranteed spot to one of the 6 UCs. Those UCs are Davis, Irvine, Merced, Riverside, Santa Barbara, and Santa Cruz. Now, our transfer counselors will definitely make sure the students are getting prepped for the TAG program, which then I'll talk more about some timelines to keep an eye out when they're in their last year with us at Saddleback. The other program that we offer is a TAP program. Now, it's no secret that it's very difficult to get into UCLA. However, the UCLA undergrad office and the honors program have a collaboration where they help students transfer to UCLA. So, UCLA will provide admission consideration to honors students. Last year, we actually had a 92.5 acceptance rate for honors students to UCLA. So, majority of our students end up going to UCLA. And as always, GPA does matter, especially for the TAP program. So in order to get into the TAP program, you do have to be part of honors, which I will talk more about in a bit on some of the benefits of that. Now, let's just say that maybe you don't want to go to UC, you want to go to the Cal State. Well, we have a new program called CSU Degree with a guarantee. So what this does, we have new associate's degree of transfer and associates of science transfer. So what that means is students will be getting an AA that is specific to transferring, and they will meet the CSU minimum eligibilities to the CSU system. However, this doesn't mean that's a guaranteed admission, but it gives them a chance to enter to the CSU system. Our transfer counselors will help them create an academic plan that will be specific to this if they're going to CSU, and ensure they're taking the classes necessary to meet the requirements and, of course, bump up their GPA. So here's what a timeline looks like. So this timeline will start when students are at Saddleback, they're at their last year. So for example, let's just say that this year we're ready to transfer, right? We met the requirements and everything, we're good to go. So in September, students who want to do the TAG program will start filling out a TAG application, which is separate from the UC application. So please be aware of that. The TAG application is separate from the UC application. But students must fill the TAG out by September, by the last day of September. Our transfer center offers workshops for students to ensure they're getting the help they need and the reminders they need to fill the TAG program if the UC is their route. In October, this is where the actual Cal State and UC applications open. They usually open from October 1st and they're open all the way through November 30th. During October, the FAFSA and the California Dream Act are also open. And of course, at Saddleback College, we make sure that we offer workshops for students who are ready to transfer so they can get help with the application in person by one of our counselors. So November is the deadline for the Cal State and UC apps. And as always, we're offering workshops all through the next 2 months to ensure we could get all the students in. And then students who do go to Saddleback by May, they usually end up graduating from Saddleback College, and then they start the new year at their stream school. So at Saddleback, we have a lot of programs that help with the support process, right? And so one of the biggest supporters, of course, is our transfer and counseling offices. They help our students with creating an academic plan. As I mentioned before, education is an investment of our time and money. So we want to make sure our students are taking the appropriate classes so they can graduate in time. I always recommend my students to make sure they meet with a counselor at least once per semester. It's a great help for them, and they'll make sure they're on track. Another program that we have at Saddleback College that usually offer with transferring is our Extended Opportunity Program Services, also known as EOPS. EOPS is a program that is committed to provide over and above student support. One of the ways they help with this is by giving students priority registration, personalized counseling, educational grants, and they help cover 4 CSU and 4 UC application fees. And of course, it will provide a cap and gown for students who are part of the EOPS program. So in order to be part of the EOPS, there is a separate application the students must do. One of the biggest benefits about EOPS, of course, is one, getting your application fees covered, right? When students apply, there is a fee for that. So we'll cover that for them. The other benefit, of course, is priority registration. So what does that mean, priority registration? At community college and at the 4 years, students will be given a registration time and date. So that time and date will determine whether they can sign up for classes. Priority registration ensures students get first picks of all the classes they need and make sure they are signing up for them ahead of time. So it's a humongous benefit. Just to give you an idea on how much that could help, at Saddleback, we roughly serve around 20,000 students per year. So you're competing with 20,000 students for a class in a spot in Saddleback. Well, with priority registration, it allows you to have first picks. However, EOPS is not the only program that helps with priority registration. As I mentioned, our honors program is an interdisciplinary effort to develop exceptional talent, ability, and scholarship for students. It's not more work, it's just different. And that's usually a misconception students get when they join honors. I feel like I have to do a lot more work. That's not true. It's just a little different, and that's all, right? Our honors program helps raise GPA due to smaller class sizes, student participation, and learning environment. One of the one of the things that students will normally see when they take honor classes is that you're surrounded by colleagues who have the same mentality and determination to go to a 4 year. So they are each other's moral support, right? They're participating in discussion, they're engaging in critical thinking. And that's what honors program does a lot. It gives our students a chance to explore that. It gives them the chance to really engage with the theories and with the subject matters of learning. So that's why our honor students often are very successful because they're surrounded by motivated individuals. Some of the benefits of an honors program is a smaller class size. So at Saddleback, an average class size can be between 30 to 40 students to one professor. Right? So it can be difficult at times to get the help they need from the professor, unless if they go to business office hours. Well, honors programs are a lot smaller. They often have between 20 to 25 students to one professor, making it easier to gain access to the professor. As mentioned before, they have priority registration. Again, first picks to the classes. This is great. We want them to have first picks because then they can end up graduating on time. They have their own honors counseling. So our students who are in the honors program have their own counselor, honors counselor. And so they can meet with the honors counselor to make ensure that their educational plan is going to meet the requirements they need to transfer. At the same time, make sure they're meeting the requirements for the honors program so they can get all the great benefits. Another amazing benefit that the honors program offers is our research conference and publication access. It's all about research, and so honors program teaches our students how to conduct research. They will attend research conferences with other colleagues who will engage in experiments, who will engage in theory, who will present this to the public, to the other schools. And so they have that learning experience, which then they'll take with them when they transfer to a 4 year. And of course, I cannot go throughout the night without talking about our Promise program. Now, while the Promise program does not directly help with transfer, it helps with other stuff, such as paying for your college. So, for many of you, or first-time students or high school seniors can qualify for the Promise program, right? So we cover their 2 years of tuition with us. They get textbook support, so we will help them with textbook costs and a lot more, such as parking permit, their health fees, and any other supplemental materials they may need for the class. One of the greatest benefits about the Promise program that's not income based. So it's pretty much first come, first serve. So the earlier you get the requirements done, the more likely you'll get into the program. I'm happy to say that the Promise program at Saddleback College is one of our largest programs, where last year we accepted 1,200 students. So some requirements is that they have to be first-time students. And so even if the student has taken college courses through concurrent enrollment or dual enrollment, so taking classes at college or high school at the same time, they still qualify for the Promise program, right? Another requirements that they have to be California residents or AB 540. They have to be a full-time student where they're going to take a math and English class during the first year at Saddleback. And as I mentioned before, they have to fill out a FAFSA or California Dream Act. So again, I will say it again. Fill out the FAFSA or the California Dream Act. Okay? That's super important to ensure that you're getting the best financial support we can give you. So maybe you won't qualify for financial aid, but you still can qualify for the Promise program. So many of the students I have worked with have already done the two parts: submit a college application and do the FAFSA California Dream Act. Right now, what I tell our students is that this semester, so the next few months, they should be focusing on submitting those. I've already went to many of the schools to conduct workshops, and I'm always there to help to conduct workshops to be sure that they do an application with us. And as I know, Futureology is working to provide all of you with some FAFSA workshops as well. One thing I really want to talk about Saddleback is about our zero textbook cost program. So as I mentioned, right, we're trying to help you save money. Textbooks aren't cheap, okay? We all know that, right? An average textbook can cost easily between $50 to $60 and more. I remember seeing a textbook cost almost $400 for one of our STEM classes. So at Saddleback, we're trying to help our students by providing classes that don't require textbooks. Everything they need to succeed in that class will be given to them by the professor. About half of our college courses at Saddleback follow this new model, which makes us the leader in the state with the zero textbook cost program. So students can potentially be getting an associate and transferring with wasting up to a little to no cost in textbooks. It's a humongous benefit for them. And to give you an idea on how community colleges are helping their students, there's a new program that we like to highlight called the Community College Pathway to Law School. So these are for the students who are interested in going to law school. Saddleback College is part of a new initiative that will create a pathway to one of the 10 California undergrad institutes and their affiliated law schools. So some of these benefits is, of course, academic advising to ensure they're on page, pre-law advising, so getting them ready for pre-law, law school admission test or the LSAT prep information, so the students will definitely be prepped with LSAT, exposure to the legal profession. One of the great things we always want to highlight is that sometimes you want to get exposed to that career to ensure that's the right career for you. So by getting exposed to the legal profession earlier, we can definitely fortify the student's idea of, yeah, law school is for me, right? They will participate in our Saddleback College pre-law club and so much more, right? And so some of the participating institutes are University of Southern California with their law school, Gold School of Law, University of San Francisco, UC Davis, UC Irvine, Santa Clara University, Loyola, Marymount University, UCLA, UC Berkeley, Pepperdine, and of course Chapman. And these 10 schools are top-notch schools. So our students who want to do pre-law, this one might be an additional program for them to benefit from and hopefully and uh, get the ball rolling and ensuring that they're following through with this. So why transfer? Right? So what's so important about transfer? Marco, you went through all of this fun stuff, but still, why transfer? Well, we could look at it in three different parts. Let's take a look at it through an academic perspective. Sometimes students need more time to develop academically. That's okay. So going to a community college can definitely help develop those skills. Sometimes students need time to explore majors. One of the things that I like to highlight is students are going to change their mind and their majors quite a bit at any college, right? And there's a belief that the average student would change their mind roughly around 5 times, and they could go from different majors. I remember I worked with one student a few years back who came to Saddleback with going to pre-med, but he didn't really want to do pre-med. He was more kind of forced to by his family. And ultimately he was about to drop out. But he decided to talk to me real fast and say, hey, I feel like I need a new major change. So I connected my student to some resources on our campus that helped them explore different career options. And we found his interest in music. He transferred to UCLA in music, and now he works in Hollywood as a music producer. So it's just an idea to give you on how much time it takes to explore majors, right? Work on being more competitive for your dream school. As I mentioned, Saddleback helps students be competitive. As I mentioned, GPA matters, of course, but we want more than GPA. We want to make sure students are developing their leadership skills, their research skills, and at Saddleback, we provide through that. Now, maybe we want to look at it through a social perspective. Maybe you start in a smaller, less overwhelming environment. When you transfer to a 4 year, sometimes classes can range easily to 100 plus students. While at Saddleback, we do offer smaller classes, right? An average between, again, 30 to 40. Some classes might be smaller than that. So, through a social perspective, they are less overwhelmed in the learning environment. Another bonus, they stay close to home, right? Sometimes students aren't ready to go out on their own yet. They just need a little more time. That's okay. We help foster that. Maybe there are more evening courses and options for students who work. So maybe they want to start working in the workforce, which is great, but they still want to continue education. So we offer evening classes for students who work during the day, they take classes in the evening. Another perspective is the financial cost, right? Again, you're saving a significant amount of money going to Saddleback College. Not just the 2 year program, right, with the Promise program, but you got financial support. You got other amazing programs like EOPS that can help with additional costs. And so it gives students time to save money to prepare them to transfer for university costs. And at Saddleback, we offer scholarships for students. We have our own, internal scholarships for our students at Saddleback that they could potentially qualify for. And so we really help them with the financial cost.
And Marco, may I add something to
Yes.
that as well?
Yes.
In looking at the kind of academic reasons, this is one of the primary reasons I'm seeing for a lot of our students who are interested in transferring, right? Can I ask how many of our participants in here are seniors or parents or guardians of seniors? You can raise your hand or put it in the chat. I just want to get a sense of how many of you are in 12th grade right now. Okay, so the numbers are creeping up. Cool. Okay. So, a lot of you are applying to different colleges and we'll see what happens in the fall and where you're going to get in, and hopefully you get into everywhere you want to get in, right? But sometimes we don't get into that dream school and we want that second chance. That's an excellent opportunity for us to transfer. And some of us actually in here have not been able to meet the A through G requirements to satisfy the requirements to even apply to a Cal State or a UC, right? So for students who maybe didn't take the courses they needed to, to apply to a UC or a Cal State, for example, going to a community college and transferring will allow you to start with a fresh slate, basically, because at that point, high school no longer matters, right? Your high school GPA doesn't factor in. As Marco keeps saying, the GPA matters, right? But that's your community college GPA at that point. So it is a great way for you to kind of take advantage of that. So just don't forget that, because I've heard Marco say GPA matters so many times, and it truly does. But it's also a great way for you to, again, have that clean, fresh slate. If you want to go on to law school or med school, your college GPA is really important. So let's say you struggled a little bit in high school, right? Going to Saddleback or IBC or any community college it is that you want to go to, that allows you to start fresh. This is a new start for anybody who needed that opportunity just to start clean, to be competitive for not only transferring to a university, but also working on that strong college GPA, to be competitive and admissible for professional programs like medical school and law school as well. So I just wanted to add that. But thank you, Marco. Back to you.
Of course, thank you. And he's absolutely right. It's a fresh new start. Let me just give you a personal example. I attended Saddleback a long time ago. I won't tell you how long ago, but it was a long time ago. I look young. But in high school, I was not most driven student. I barely graduated high school, right, with a 2.0. And so when I went to Saddleback, it was definitely a brand new start, right? I got my act together. I developed the skills I needed to be successful at Saddleback College. And I transferred to my dream school at UCSB. And now I'm working at Saddleback. I'll keep providing that support for our students, our next generation, because it's something that I believe in. And transferring is a great way to get our students going to that dream. So even if students feel like they can't make it, as B said, this is a new start. And sometimes we just need a fresh start, and Saddleback provides that for you. So let me talk to you a bit more about support and resources we have. So maybe B wants to talk a little bit about Futureology and how they can provide resource.
Sure, absolutely. So this is just to let all of you know that you have support in the district, especially if you're a senior, right? And you want questions answered on transferring or even applying to Saddleback. You have two kind of options in addition to, of course, your amazing school counselors. All of you have school counselors at each of your high schools. They are probably your very first line of support, right, on campus. So in addition, of course, to your guidance department, you have Futureology, our team. We are at each of your high school sites, and you can schedule a one-on-one appointment with us, online or in person, to discuss the transfer pathway. We are all happy to talk to you about that and to help give you some guidance to get started. But on top of that, you also have access to a Saddleback counselor at each of our high school campuses as well. So you can actually schedule an appointment to meet with a Saddleback counselor on your high school campus. I don't know if you knew that, but you do have that access. So you're going to want to visit your high school's guidance web page on the school website to see what days your Saddleback counselor is on campus, and then you'll be provided with a link that you can use to sign up for an appointment with your Saddleback counselor. For example, our counselor here at Aliso is here every Tuesday from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., right? And she's getting booked very quickly. So check that out and make sure that you schedule with her, but just know that you have your school counselors and Futureology and Saddleback at your disposal in our district. And I think with that, Marco,
Jessica wanted to say something.
Yeah,
just really quick, the Saddleback counselor at San Juan Hills is available every Thursday from 9 to 1 p.m. And same thing with our school. She's filling up very quickly, but you are welcome to try to schedule an appointment with her or stop by, see if she has any free time. And then we can also help if you have community college questions or you want to schedule an appointment, or maybe the Saddleback person is full. Futureology counselors are also able to meet with you one-on-one to answer your questions.
Perfect. And that's not just schools, but Capo, Dana, right? There are some other schools right there as an example who have our Saddleback counselors at your high school. So they are getting booked up pretty fast. But again, you have so many resources. You have us here at Saddleback College. a community here to provide services for you. So you do have access to your counselors as well. And the one thing I want to share is, of course, my information. As again, I'm an enrollment coach at Saddleback College. My job here is to make your transition from high school to college in a seamless manner, right? I'm here to help you throughout the process. If you feel like you got lost, you need a refresher or anything, I'm well connected with so many resources, not only on campus, but also off campus with your high school. So if you ever need someone to talk to just to get a reminder, I'm a perfect person to contact. And I think with that, I'm gonna open it up to some Q&A, unless if I'm missing something else.
No, let's hop into some Q&A for sure. Let's see here. So I'm gonna change this right now. We do have some questions in the Q&A, so let's just get to them. Chrissy had a question. Does the UC requirement of 3 years of high school language apply for Saddleback to UC transfers? So the transfer requirements to UCs is going to be different from the A through G requirements, right, Chrissy? So you know how you're thinking right now you're thinking of the A through G requirements for high school students. So those requirements are kind of out the window as a transfer student to a UC. They have different requirements of college students who are transferring. And depending on the major that you're going into and the campus, it might look a little bit different. Because you've already completed some high school foreign language, that you might be able to bypass a certain level of language at Saddleback. Marco, you can correct me if I'm wrong on that. But I do not believe you'll be expected to kind of start from the beginning, if that's part of your question. But it depends on what you're majoring in and where you're transferring, what that foreign language requirement will look like. Because it just depends, especially for the UC campuses.
That's correct. Yes. So you will talk with our counselors at Saddleback to see if we could transition some of those language courses that you took in high school to college credit, right? Especially, for example, AP. I know we could transfer those AP scores when you take language classes in AP, like AP Spanish. That could be translated to college credit. They just need to talk to a counselor and to help them with that.
Awesome. Thank you. How much credit is required to enter the school? So if your question is how many credits are required to transfer, generally it's going to be 60 units at the community college, which takes roughly 2 years, 2 academic school years to complete. Marco, is there anything else that you wanted to add to that?
Yes. So it also varies. Oh, just remember that it varies also on the degree or the major you're studying. For example, if you're going to the sciences, you can expect to have more units than 60 units to transfer. So it also varies, but talk to our counselors on that.
Let's see. So another question is, do kids need to wait until March or April to register at Saddleback if they are not accepted at their dream school? So this is my recommendation to you. The Saddleback application is open, my friends. It opened in October, right? So if you are a senior right now, as part of your college application process, you should be applying to Saddleback. And Marco, correct me if I'm wrong on that.
You're absolutely correct. My biggest suggestion is, even if you don't know what school you want to go to, or if you're going to get accepted, submit your Saddleback College application. And here's why. By submitting the fall 2023 application right now, we're giving our first-time students like yourselves, high school seniors, the freshman advantage, which gives you priority registration at Saddleback College for your first year. On top of that, you're also submitting an application for the Promise program at the same time. So we don't want you to miss out on that free tuition, right? At Saddleback, we really care about making sure that we're helping you in any best way we can. So by submitting an application with us, it's free. There's no charge to that end. So let me highlight that. There's no charge. And you submit one. And if you don't go with us, that's okay. No problem. The application is just there. But if you do decide to go with us, at least you got the ball rolling and you're not falling behind. And that's important.
Please apply now. I work with seniors every year who are last minute applying to Saddleback in the spring, and it's very stressful because then you might not qualify for Freshman Advantage where you get that early registration window so you can get the classes you want, right? That's a big deal. And also apply now, and don't forget to add Saddleback to your FAFSA, right? Or your California Dream Act. So when you're completing financial aid, you're asked to list all of the schools you're applying to. Saddleback should absolutely be on that list because that's how you qualify again for the Promise program. They need to know that that's a school that you're interested in, right? So those are your 2 steps right now, is to apply to Saddleback now, even if you're not sure if you're going to go, and to add Saddleback to your FAFSA or California Dream Act application. I'm going to put something in the chat box for all of you. It is the Promise program interest form. And this is to indicate your interest in the Promise program at Saddleback, which is again 2 years of free tuition, and they will cover up to $300 in book fees, right? They will cover all sorts of different additional fees. They're going to pay you to go to Saddleback essentially. So please put your name on the interest list and fill out that form in the chat as well.
And then, Marco, we had a couple of participants ask about how they can go about applying for the honors program and kind of what that process looks like. I sent the direct link to the Saddleback webpage regarding the honors program, but I don't know if you wanted to maybe add anything, just like a quick tidbit on how students can go about applying or eligibility requirements.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So one of the great things about honors program at Saddleback College is that you don't have to apply for honors program after high school if you don't want to. You could still be, let's just say you take a semester with us at Saddleback and you feel like you're ready, like, yeah, you know what, I want to do the honors. That's okay. It's an open enrollment, so you can apply it at any time. It just will vary on, of course, when you decide to apply. So here's an example. Let's just say that you're a high school senior wanting to apply for honors program. The general requirements usually is, of course, letters of rec, right? To determine, someone who can speak on your character, on how you'll be a great addition to the honors program, a personal statement of why you will be successful in the honors program, and of course, your GPA, right? So if you are applying to the honors program for as a freshman at Saddleback College, it's going to go based off on your high school GPA. But let's just say that you don't do that. You go to Saddleback, you did so amazing the first semester and you have a high GPA. It's going to go based off on your GPA in your first semester. So it's an open enrollment, and I know they put the link there. Their honors program has an email, and they're super awesome responding back to everyone that emails them.
Okay, I'm putting a couple things in the chat box for everybody. This is a letter from Saddleback's honors program to high school students. So save that link and read it later. And this is going to be a link to Saddleback honors programs, like a special workshop page that they created for their students. They have one final webinar coming up on November 22nd. I think that's Thanksgiving break for everybody, so you should be able to make it. But they host workshops and webinars to educate students like you on the honors program. So I suggest that everybody sign up for that workshop on the 22nd so that you can hear it straight from the horse's mouth, right? From the honors program themselves. They will speak to you about their transfer rates and the success of their students and how to qualify and how to apply. Just like Marco gave you a quick synopsis, they are going to do a deep dive. So check out that link and sign up for that webinar. I missed the one that I signed up for, so I think I'll attend that one as well. More questions.
Yeah, another question. How can we find out the transfer acceptance rate for each university or for your college? So the best way for that is actually going to the UC or Cal State's direct website. They're very transparent on their data. And a lot of times you can filter out the data based on the community colleges as well. Unless if something you want to add, B?
No, I would go straight to the university page. Same thing for freshman admit rates too. The university page will be the most up-to-date and reliable for transfer acceptance rates. Absolutely. Let's see. Does the webinar that you post on YouTube channel also include the Q&A? Yeah, It does. Oh, the Q&A and the links. So the links, no, but everybody who registered for tonight's webinar will receive a follow-up email with the webinar recording, as well as all of the links that we discussed. So you will get that from us via email.
And there's another question: what if you don't know what you want to major in because you don't know what kind of job do you want? Well, the community college sounds perfect for you because that's your time to explore, right? It's all about being curious and exploring your options. So at Saddleback, we have a career resource center, which our career resource center is designed to help students with career exploration. So you will sit down with the student, you'll sit down with one of our specialists there who will help with that. Now, here's another thing, and I did not mention that, I think I should have. And spring of 2023 at your high schools, we're teaching the Counseling 100 class. The Counseling 100 class is a college course that's being taught at the school by our Saddleback counselors. And part of that class, you'll be doing career exploration. So students who are interested in that should talk straight to the guidance counselor office or our Saddleback counselors about that. But we're starting the process on that. So Counseling 100 class is a great class for you to take, especially for career exploration.
Absolutely. I know Elisa sent out an interest form, right? So seniors, if you have questions, see your school counselor or your guidance office for more information about Counseling 100. That's a great opportunity for all of you.
And here's another bonus too. If you need help registering, I'm there to help you register as well. When we have enough demand, for example, like Elisa, I'll be going to Elisa in person doing an application workshop for the counseling class.
So, actually, I just got a question in the chat. I'm going to answer it for everybody. So somebody asked if it's okay to complete the California Promise interest form before applying to Saddleback. It asks for your Saddleback ID. That's not required. You can submit it without the ID, but it's going to email you and say, hey, we're missing your Saddleback ID. So I guess in the interest of, saving yourself the headache of getting that email, then having to apply, you can apply first and then complete the interest form. The Saddleback application will take you 20 minutes, maybe. It doesn't take that long.
Now, the Saddleback College application takes roughly around 15 to 20 minutes. During the application, there's actually a question that says, are you interested in the Promise program? We always click yes, because who doesn't want free tuition? Well, that's just me at least, right?
Absolutely. So yeah, to answer your question, apply first, apply soon. Make it a to-do item for this weekend. You are not bound to Saddleback by applying, like Marco said, right? You don't have to go, but you want this ready to go in your back pocket, just in case you change your mind. Let's say you get into all sorts of great schools, but you're like, you know what? I want to save money. I want to go to med school. I'm going to be 6 figures in debt by the end of all of this. So why not save on college by starting at a community college at Saddleback, right? So do this now so that you have this option ready to go, so that you're not panicking in the spring and applying last minute and worrying about getting priority registration and all of that stuff. So apply first and then complete the interest form.
And I think there's some hands raised in chat. I don't know how
Okay.
you want to approach that.
Yeah. So yes, and if you have a question, you're welcome to type it in the Q&A. I think these hands might have been raised actually from when I asked questions earlier of everybody. I think that's what it was. But if you do have a question, feel free to put it in the Q&A. And yes, and another reminder, yes, make sure that when you complete your financial aid application that it is on your app, right? We were talking about that earlier, right? Is you're going to apply to Saddleback and you're going to add Saddleback to your FAFSA California Dream Act application, okay? And for you seniors, you have to complete a financial aid application. And so it's going to be the FAFSA or the California Dream Act. If you have questions about which one you should be applying for, let us know. Generally, the FAFSA is for U.S. citizens and permanent residents of the country. And then the California Dream Act will be for our AB 540 undocumented students. And again, if you have questions, feel free to ask us and you can meet with us privately to discuss that.
And someone asked, can you apply to multiple community colleges? The answer is yes, you can. So it's also based on district. So here's an example. If you're applying for Saddleback, you won't have to apply to Irvine Valley Community Colleges because we're sister schools. So you could take classes at either or, right? But let's just say you want to apply to Orange Coast College, then yes, you're more than welcome to apply to Orange Coast College and other community colleges out there.
So it's applying for college, right, everybody? It's adding, you get to do your research. You get to visit Saddleback, go to their website, make sure it's a good fit for you. You have options, right? Saddleback is a phenomenal local choice. And they offer, as you can see, so many supports, but you get to make that decision for yourself because this is college after all. And so those best fit factors play into this decision making as well for community colleges. Socially, does it make sense for you? Do you like the campus? Do you feel like you belong there? And the beauty of our community colleges is that they're all quite close to us. So you can explore a lot of them in the course of a few weeks over the weekend, right? So go visit OCC, Santiago Canyon, IVC, Saddleback, whatever it is, so that you're picking the right community college for you as well. Okay, is it really possible to qualify for pre-med or pre-law by attending community college? I never took honors or APs in high school, but I do have a strong GPA. 100%. If your question is, can you go to law school or med school as a transfer student, right? Starting at a community college, going to a university, and then applying to law school or med school, 100% you can. That does not hurt you in any way whatsoever. They're going to be looking at your college GPA. So they'll be looking at the grades that you earned while at Saddleback, also the grades that you earned while at UCI, for example, and that'll be your, cumulative college GPA. So that's all that matters. But the fact that you went to a community college is not going to hurt you in the admissions process for medical school, law school, a PhD, a master's degree, whatever it is that you want. That does not negatively impact you at all. Really good questions, everybody.
If it helps, I do have a colleague who attended Saddleback College and now they're finishing their residency in Chicago to get their doctor. So they're almost done. So yes, it's 100% possible.
There you go. It happens all the time. Okay, last call for questions. We'll take one more if you have one more, but otherwise, if you don't have any more questions, we want to thank you for being with us tonight and playing an active role in your future and learning more about this amazing opportunity for all students. And again, I've known valedictorians who have gone the community college route, right? We have to debunk this myth that community college is some kind of an alternative choice or a backup plan. It is absolutely not. It's college, right? And it makes sense for different students for different reasons. So please take this seriously as an option for you to make college more accessible, more affordable, more comfortable for you based on where you're at and what your needs are, okay? But thank you so much for joining us. Marco, thank you so much for your expertise and for presenting to our students. We're so grateful to have you as a partner. And Jessica and Erica, thank you for coming to support us as well. Everybody, good luck with college apps. We are all at your high school campuses if you need support. You have a wonderful evening, and we will be in touch with you with a follow-up email within the days to come, okay? Thank you so much, everybody.